What is up, my friends? Welcome to Friday's episode, the Craft of Fatherhood podcast. This is your guide, Ned Schaut. I believe our role as fathers has the power to change the world simply by knowing who we are and embracing the adventure. Now, on these Friday episodes, I try to keep them short, either stories from my week, thoughts I'm thinking about, or ideas, things that I'm learning, things I'm experiencing. Man, it is Thursday night. It is 5:58. This week has been wild, and it feels like every week is like that. I mean, a 12-year-old, then two 16-year-olds, a 17-year-old, and a 19-year-old. 19-year-old and mama just left yesterday to fly back to school, second year of college. And here I am, taking care of the kids, running the business, making sure that the house is not falling apart, and then continuing on with whatever projects that we have happening. If I could tell you everything from this week, it feels so full. And I say it in the sense of if you're listening to this and you're taking any time to invest in yourself as a father, kudos, because the days fill up and it is hard to then invest in you, whether it's a workout or this or a book or just some you time to while also, growing on your craft. Like, I get it, just scrolling Instagram or hitting the gym, listening to some music. That's what I did earlier. And I need that. But then to pause and invest in yourself, congratulations. It's hard to do, and not everybody's doing it. And then the next step is to implement whatever it is that I share with you today. As I thought about this, I had a moment about 3-4 weeks ago, and I was brushing my teeth, sitting on the toilet. The lid was closed. My wife came in, but it was like a very sad brushing of the teeth, just kind of like hunched over, sitting there, brushing my teeth. And my wife came in, and I had said, and this is the preface of this episode, is I feel like I'm a good dad and a shitty parent. Now, what do I mean by that? I think a lot of times I can be like, yes, let's do this. Yes, let's go ride dirt bikes. Yes, let's go. You want to ride? You want to stay the night at friends? You want a friend to come over? You want yes. So in a lot of ways, I feel like a really good dad, that I'm always down to have fun with my kids, or really at the stage that they're at right now, it's like pretty much drive them places. Like literally, I left it. I don't know what time I left. I've been gone for 2 hours, kind of driving kids around, and then I got to leave it a little bit to go drive around again, which is great. I don't mind it at all. If you were to ask my kids, am I a fun dad? I think they'd say yes, but then they'd also probably be like, he also reminds us to clean up after ourselves and is always asking us to help him with like this, that, or the other, because there's always chores and take the cans out, the cardboard out, the shoes need to be put away. You need to put your chip bag away, put your cup away, whatever it is, right? They probably hear that more than that. But I would tell you that I feel a lot of times I feel like a good dad, that I have a relationship with them. I wake them up, put them to bed. I'm connected to them, in some ways, maybe try to be their friend, or just want them to like me and me like them. Like, I want to enjoy being around each other. So that's that. I think, with a 16-year-old boy, there was some conflict a few weeks ago where my wife was frustrated. She wanted him to do something or not do something. He was, being a 16-year-old boy about it. And so just take you back to that moment where I'm sitting in my bathroom and my wife comes in, and the conversation with Brody in the kitchen, I remember it turned out fine, but I think I just felt like, maybe it was because he was mad at me. I'm not quite sure, which is fine. That is okay as a parent. But I remember sitting there feeling like, man, I'm a great dad, but I'm a shitty parent. And, Sarah responded really well and was just kind to me about it. But something that she shared with me that I am sharing with you. Well, here's why I'm sharing this with you. You might feel like a really good parent and a shitty dad, right? You might feel the opposite of me, and lean into your strengths. But I think that there are moments for us to be great dads where we are engaged and fun and yes, let's go. And then there are times where, nope, responsibility. Nope, you got to come home. You didn't do what you said you were going to do. Is your chores done? Is your homework done? Why are you home at 10:05 when you're supposed to be home at 10? Okay. So I think we need to pay attention to what we need to lean into. I personally need to lean into the parent side. And, I've been practicing it the past week. And it's the thing that's weird is it changes per season, right? You get it locked down when they're 5, and then all of a sudden they're 10, and then all of a sudden they're 15. And then now it's like I got a 19-year-old. So it's like, while Brooklyn was home for summer, it's like navigating, wanting to not control her life, but have an influence, have her ear where she's willing to listen, because there's things that as a parent you see that she may not see, that you want to at least conversate about, that she is looking to the opinion of your parent, of the parent. Here's an example of me trying to lean into being a good parent, but I want to stop and go something my wife said, because we do family dinner on Sundays, and usually I'll bring, we'll do a devotion, bring a topic, bring an article, discuss something, watch something. Like, okay, so what are you talking about? Find an article on multi-generational families, or I'll bring an article on business or faith, or we'll watch Jordan Peterson, like he has like a 5-part series on success, or we'll watch Chosen, whatever. Depending on the season, we do different things. So I'm good at that, but my wife had said something because she feels like the kids aren't following through on some of the chores, some of the expectations, or will bitch, moan, and complain when we do ask them to do something, which I get, but also like do it. So she said, hey, in some regards, like I love the videos, I love the teaching, I love the things we're always talking about, but sometimes it's like, for me, and this is my wife speaking, for me, I just want them to pick up their shoes. I just want them to do these things. So holding them accountable is more important to me. So it registered with me that she's looking to me to hold them accountable to things that are important to her. Now, a couple tips I wrote down, and I'm going to share a parenting thing that I did do. A few tips. When talking to the kids, don't say, because this is what mom wants. Hey, you know what? I need you guys to clean up after dinner because this is what mom wants. Or, hey, don't leave your shoes outside your door because this is what mom wants. No, we're a team, and she's leaning on me to hold them accountable to things around here. So, hey, you're doing this simply because I asked you to. I don't think everything needs a reason. Now, I do think that, back in the day, it was just like, do what I say because I said it. I do think, depending on the circumstance and depending on the kid, really, that it's okay to give a reason. It's okay to let them know why. But then, like my son, in some regards, it's like, hey, no, just do it because I'm asking you to do it, because that's what he needs to learn right now. Okay, don't always have something to say. So even as a parent, right, like today, okay, I'll give you an example. I'm homeschooling my son. We're going through a finance course every day. And yesterday, I had to ask him 3 times to get his school stuff off the kitchen table and then put it in his room. Now, today, I was about to take him on he went on a date tonight with his girlfriend, was dropping him off at the movies. And as we're walking out the house, he had left his stuff on the table again today from our finance course. And in that moment, my typical is to tell him again, but I'm like, hey, in my head, kind of having a conversation with myself, don't say anything. His mode is like he's focused on going on this date, and I want it to be fun, and I don't want to cause anything, so I didn't say anything. So I think a tip 2 is to not always have something to say. I do think that it is important to work on a standard and then hold them accountable to it. Now, this is an area where I can sometimes just tell them without actually having a consequence. So this week, what I did is, so as a family, now that school started, we're doing a devotions on the Bible app. So everybody can read through, it takes 5 to 6, 7, 8 minutes, and then you could put comments in it. So then we could each see each other's comments. So what I did is nobody did it the first day. Every other kid just had their screen time just shut off. I just shut it off and just said, you'll get it back once you do the devotion. So that was, if it's silly enough, that's like hard for me to do, but it didn't matter. It was fine. Not a big deal. The next one is, so I say yes too much. So I've been practicing saying no a little bit. Now, do you say no too much and you need to practice saying yes? Like you're tired at the end of the day. I get it. I'm tired right now, but my kids, have this, that, and the other. Are you willing to say yes, drive them around, do things, say yes to hanging out, playing a game? Do you need to say no more? Do you need to say yes more? Another tip, be calm. I think sometimes when I lean into the parent mode, for me, I go like a little aggro. Like it's not going to come across unless I seem a little irritated or a little frustrated or a little, I don't want to say mad or angry, and I think it's because I waited so long to say something. So instead of saying, get your school stuff off the table and then having to ask 3 times, on time number 2, I should have just said, nope, I'm going to walk over there with you right now. Let's go ahead and grab that all, and then you can put it in there. Instead of 3, 4, 5, 6 times, right, which is ludicrous. That's where, am I being a good parent? And really, we have to remember that we are raising good adults. We are raising, like right now, and it's more obvious to me now that my son's 16, like he is going to be a husband and a father one day. And I realize this two years I have is critical. The other thing I'm realizing too is I read an article by Jeremy Pryor, really interesting stuff. The article was like something like the 10 traits of successful multi-generational families. And one of the things that really stuck out to me is 18 is not the end. 18 is a starting point. What if we started talking about that? And I talked about that some with my kids this weekend, because they are starting to think and step into different stages. Brooklyn's in college, kids are starting to, think about what's the next phase. And we talked about that the 20s should be this time where they're we're not driving them to school anymore. We're not necessarily making all their meals, buying their toothpaste, but we should have this cultivated relationship where we are their greatest advisor, that they trust Sarah and I so much, that they trust you in their 20s, that they are calling you, hey, I'm doing this, think about this, what are your thoughts? And not to give them the answers always, but to be a listening ear, to be an advisor, to ask really good questions. And I think that's the shift. 18, 19, 20 is shifting into asking really good questions and cultivating a relationship, because we want to be their parents still, not just their fun dad who's planning an annual snowboard trip or Thanksgiving trip or whatever. I want you and I to start thinking about what does it look like to be a parent at every stage. And dude, even thinking further along is I want to be a really good grandparent, not just a granddad, not just a grandpa who's fun. Let me find a quarter behind your ear. Let me, whatever shenanigans you would do with your grandfather, those are great. But are we thinking about how are we parenting this current phase? Am I that wise captain of the ship that's stepping back and going, what does Brooklyn need in this stage? What does she need at 19? What does Brody need at 16? What if you're 65 and you're looking at you're thinking ahead, what does my 10-year-old granddaughter need? How can I show up for them? Now, that doesn't mean that we're stepping on the toes of the parents or we're trying to control their life, but we will always have an opportunity to parent our kids, grandkids, maybe if we're lucky, great grandkids. So there are moments currently that I feel like a shitty parent and a good dad. Where are you at? What's going on with you? Do you need to lean into be a more fun dad? Do you need to lean into being a more engaged parent? Where are you at? Think about that. Now I'm going to give you 2 affirmations. So most mornings I start my day off reading, like a few morning routine things. And one of the things is I have a list of affirmations that I read, kind of remind myself, like, who is Ned? How do I want to show up today? And here's 2 that have been really helpful for me right now, and I want to pass them to you. So one of them is, I am the CEO of this house. Now, that does not mean I'm the freaking leader of this place. These people are going to listen to me, and I will be respected. It's not what that means to me. What that means is I am responsible for this place. I'm going to have to make really hard decisions for this place. I want to be ready and available for that. I don't want to suck all my energy or spend all my resources, energy, time out in the career, out in the workforce, so that I'm not a good CEO here. Like, I need to be the CEO here of this house. Now, depending on your story, your background, you might think, oh, big company CEO bad. Or you might go, there's really amazing CEOs running really amazing companies really effectively, and really a really good CEO isn't walking around doing everything. They're walking around listening really well, knowing their people, encouraging them, inspiring them, influencing them, leading them. Okay, so that's affirmation number 1. Affirmation number 2 is I will not. This was huge. This is huge, I think, in this day and age too. I will not surrender my responsibility to lead this home. So it's in the same vein, but it's a little bit different. I see a lot of dads, myself included. It is so easy to want to give up, not give up, like, don't get me wrong, like, oh, I'm leaving, not like that, but give up when you create a chore chart, when you create family dinner night, when you create morning, connection before school, when you create these things, you want these things, and then your spouse gives you pushback. Oh, do we have to do that tonight? Or your kids, oh, we don't want to have a family work day. And family work day, great example. Hey, Saturday, we're all going to get up at 9. We're going to have breakfast together, and then we're going to do chores around the house together. No, what? We don't want to. It's so easy to go, you know what? F it. Fine. Forget it. You get up at 6. You do it all yourself. You're bitter and pissed off. everybody loses because they lose, because they didn't learn. Because here's the thing I'm learning. They're all going to bitch about it. It just is. You say we're doing family work day. I mean, maybe there's a few families out there. The kids are like, yay, dad. All right, cool. I think that's probably very unlikely. I think you're going to get pushback. I think you do a family dinner. Hey, no friends, no phones, Sunday at 5:00. That's what you're going to get. But I promise you, if you roll in there with a good attitude and you're not like, fine, F it, forget it, 9 times, 8 times, 7 times out of 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes in, it's all good. It's all good. They're fine. They like it. They're fine. They're good. They're connecting. They're laughing. I promise you. So don't surrender your responsibility to lead your home. You're the guy. You are the guy. All right. I think I beat this horse to death. Write a review if these conversations, these thoughts are helpful. You flipping matter so much, dude. You matter. You matter. Remember who you are. You're a father, and that matters. Together, let's rebel against the view that fatherhood has little impact, and let's create lives engaged in mastering the craft of fatherhood. Much love to you, my friends. Together, we're changing the world. I look forward to hanging out with you next week.